We are sitting here in the Jewish synagogue in Havana. I'm not sure what all you can see. We just got to go up to where the rabbi stands, and he read some from Numbers for us. And Elizabeth Ann here had a really great question that I asked because that's what I do.
I didn't know how to phrase it.
About in a culture here in Cuba where pork is such a big part of, like a big staple, like how do you stick to your Jewish dietary customs?
Yeah.
And the rabbi actually corrected.
And when it's all you say.
No,
yeah.
keep going.
And the question was like this is Kenneth. When the resources are limited.
Yes. And yeah, so I didn't add that part, and then the rabbi corrected it and said, well, the better question is, how do you tell someone what not to eat when they don't have food anyway? What if all they can get is pork? And he was very careful. He was like, I'm not criticizing the government. I'm not saying anything bad about the way things do it. He was very firm, and I'm not trying to disrespect any governmental anything, but he said the better question is, what do you do when you can't get other types of meat? What do you do when this is the only kind of meat you have? And he told us about a person from his congregation who just went to the market and bought 2 tomatoes, or 3? 3 tomatoes for 15 CUCs, which is about the equivalent, he said, of
2 euros.
2 euros. When 15 CUCs, and they make 25 CUCs a month. I mean, that's the equivalent. That's like when you make $5 a month and you've just spent 2 of them on tomatoes. And he said a few years ago, that much money would have gotten you 4 or 5 pounds of tomatoes. And he was a really good man, because he said, you know what, how can you tell them? How can you tell them that they can't eat this? How can you tell them that they can't eat this when that's just what's going on? I think it's a real good lesson in the practice of ministry. It's a real good lesson of, we serve a God who is gracious, and even though these are laws, and these are legit, especially for Judaism, sometimes life and circumstances, you just got to do the best you can, and you got to be gracious. But it was a really, really interesting, his response was fascinating in itself, but he mentioned 2 or 3 times, I'm not trying to say anything bad about the government. This is not a critique about the government. I'm not trying to be critical. I'm not trying to criticize. I'm like,